Hi there, welcome to another informative show. This is Jamaica Magazine and I'm Adrian Atkinson. It is often said much of today's problems could have been prevented from in the home, that parents without the proper guidance and support often cultivate a future generation of degenerate citizens. On today's show, we tackle the unscripted issue of parenting, hoping to provide some pointers for the hands that rock the cradle. Stay with us, it all begins right now.
Protect yourself from the flu virus. Visit your nearest health center or doctor to get the flu vaccine. Cover your mouth and nose when coughing and sneezing. Wash your hands regularly with soap and water or by using an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Avoid the spread of germs by not touching your eyes, mouth, or nose. And be sure to regularly disinfect surfaces and objects that are used often. Remember, your health is your responsibility.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, February 25. Phase 1 of the newly proposed foreign exchange trading platform by the Bank of Jamaica BOJ is expected to be rolled out by March 31. This was disclosed by Deputy Governor Natalie Haynes during the bank's quarterly media briefing on Thursday.
That first phase basically involves what we call the order market, where there are matching of trades, bids and offers for dealers in the foreign exchange market. And by dealers, I mean the banks and the cambios. In addition, the large corporate entities, the users of foreign exchange, as well as the suppliers of foreign exchange, will be registered on the platform to view the bids. So that's where the transparency comes in.
The new platform will be the second to be introduced by the BOJ since the start of the 2020 calendar year. In January, the bank rolled out the foreign exchange swap arrangement. Under this arrangement, the BOJ sells US dollars to dealers at an agreed spot rate, defined as the current midday rate plus a spread, based on the duration of the contract agreed on by the parties. It also facilitates an agreement between the parties to repurchase the same amount of US dollars at an agreed forward rate. Meanwhile, it's being reported that government's operations over the first 9 months of the 2019-2020 fiscal year generated primary and fiscal surpluses of approximately $136.7 billion. This is recorded in the 2020-2021 fiscal policy paper. The primary surplus exceeded the target budget of nearly $94 billion by 6.5%. Meanwhile, the fiscal surplus far exceeded the projected $2 billion by $21 billion. The document indicates that both outturns reflect strong overall combined performance of revenues and grants. These were up by more than $14.6 billion, which exceeded the lower-than-programmed government expenditure that was down $12 billion. According to the policy paper, the main driver behind the revenue buoyancy was tax revenues. That went up by $10.9 billion. Receipts for April to December 2019 totaled $414.7 billion, 2.7% over budget and 6.7% more than the corresponding period in the previous fiscal year. The Ministry of Education says it will be utilizing counseling and other interventions to address social challenges affecting the sector. Minister with Oversight for Education Khalil Baker gave the assurance during Jamaica Day activities at the Denby High School in Clarendon last Friday. The minister's pledge comes in the wake of increased incidents of violence in schools.
The challenges that confront some of our students in this regard can be overcome if they are properly guided. This will only come with the establishment of a relationship through our guidance counselors and our experienced personnel who understand the socio-economic issues of the country. This is not a phenomenon that is peculiar to any one school. This is a Jamaican problem.
Minister Samuda says the intervention is being done to support data which suggests that a significant number of children have encountered some level of trauma within their households. He adds that counseling must be utilized to guide children who display antisocial behavior while asserting that the use of corporal punishment will not be an option. Meanwhile, the minister affirms that despite the various challenges arising, the education system is operating very well and that many schools are operating at highly efficient levels. Still on education, the ministry will complete renovation to its headquarters at Heroes Circle and subdivisions at Caenwood Centre in the new financial year starting April 1. $70 million has been allocated in the ministry's 2020-2021 estimates of expenditure to carry out the project. Works will include renovations to bathroom facilities at both locations. $8.5 billion will be spent in the new financial year to, among other things, equip and modernize the Social Security Division of the Ministry of Labour. The expenditure is part of the Jamaica Social Protection Program. It includes the implementation of a client management information system and completing an impact evaluation of the parenting pilot project. The program seeks to strengthen capacity and improve quality and access to social services provided by the ministry. It specifically supports human capital development for vulnerable families that are beneficiaries of the Program of Advancement through Health and Education PATH. And finally, as of September 2020, the Ministry of Culture will be offering a dance scholarship in the name of the late Barrington Moncrief to a student of the Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts. The scholarship will be in the amount of $250,000 per year. It will be available to a student of the School of Dance who has completed the first year of a degree program with a grade point average of at least 3.0. The news was revealed by Culture Minister Olivia Grange during a recent memorial service at the Little Theatre for the late former dancer, teacher and artistic director of the National Dance Theatre Company, NDTC. Barrington Moncrief passed away at age 78 on Friday, January 17, following a long battle with cancer. He gave 55 years of unbroken service to the NDTC. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
The first case we had was of 7 Indian nationals who were trafficked, and where they were found, they were living where the dogs were living. They were not fed, just given scraps. So those are just some real male stuff.
If you know of someone who is being trafficked, call the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Arm of the Jamaica Constabulary Force at 876-967-5627 or 876-967-1389.
The future of motor vehicles is electric. The government of Jamaica is taking steps to prepare the country and Jamaicans to take advantage of the opportunities of transitioning from gas powered to electric motor vehicles. The Minister of Science, Energy and Technology, MSET, hosted a roundtable discussion on the subject at the Montego Bay Convention Center in St. James on January 24.
We're having this event to raise awareness about e-mobility and to signal to the people of Jamaica that this is a significant priority. Jamaica is redefining the energy landscape to allow us to scale up actions to achieve energy security, energy efficiency, energy resilience, and greater energy investments in the country.
The Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, is supporting Jamaica in developing the policy framework for transitioning to electric mobility.
We're bringing $1.5 million in grant. We're helping with the strategic framework. We're helping with feasibility studies. We're helping with looking at innovative ways of financing. And together we can be part of that climate change solution.
The roundtable discussion was held ahead of the 4th Energy and Climate Partnership of the Americas ECPA ministerial meeting, scheduled to take place in Montego Bay at the Montego Bay Convention Center, February 27 to 28, 2020.
Did you know that you can apply for a copy of your birth certificate online or by visiting any of the Registrar General's department offices listed on their website? For ease of processing, there are several things you need to know about the person or child whose birth certificate you are applying for. Here's a checklist. Ensure you know the correct name and spelling of the person, as well as their mother and father. You will need their date and place of birth, which is usually the name of the hospital or location they were born. Parish of birth is also important. Find out also the birth entry number along with the date and place of registration for the adult or child. Remember, for additional information on how you can apply for a copy of your birth certificate or someone else's, contact the Registrar General's Department today.
Government sees the importance of good parenting. That's why the state-owned National Parenting Support Commission exists. Next, effective parenting tips from the Commission.
Wouldn't it be great if children came into the world so well-adjusted or with manuals, therefore eliminating the need for parental discipline? This is not the case, however. Parents usually apply their methods or they depend on strategies taught throughout generations to guide their children.
8 in 10 Jamaican children in the 2 to 14 years age group experience violence as a form of discipline.
Coercive parenting involves the physical administration of pain as punishment. It also includes the use of harsh language that has the potential to hurt children's feelings and affect their general self-esteem and development. It also fosters aggression because what you're really teaching children is that when there is an issue, we must resolve the issue through harshness, through aggression, through coarse language. There's a direct correlation between coercive parenting and the aggression that we see actually in society.
Damaging disciplinary practices have moved outside of the home and into the national consciousness.
The time has come for the Parliament to have a debate on this issue and finally declare corporal punishment at an end, both within public institutions and as a means of discipline available to parents. I think it would be a forward-leaning step in making a stance against violence generally, and it would send a powerful message about the state respecting the inviolability of the person, whether or not that person is a child or an adult.
Children need guidance, and many wonder if not with the rod, then how? Enter the National Parenting Support Commission, NPSC, an agency of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. The ministry established the commission in 2012 to provide parents with the requisite skills and tools to raise children.
We work at 3 tiers. We work at home, school, and community. Our first and most important priority, however, is to ensure that we're fostering the home-school relationship. We must ensure that parents as key stakeholders feel involved in the entire process of educating their children.
Now, to do this, the Commission assists parents in several ways, including providing psychosocial support, assisting parents with understanding the teaching-learning process, and conducting parenting education programs.
Through our effective parenting courses, we push proactive strategies. In other words, you are going to put structures in place before behaviors that you don't desire actually show.
Parents and guardians should consider the child's developmental stage when determining the best method of guidance.
A child who is very young, we encourage play. The child must be playing, and even the teaching learning processes must include play, because this is how they develop their imagination, their creative skills. This is how they also learn to resolve issues and to problem solve.
Young children, especially infants, are at the stage where they don't know right from wrong, and they can be impulsive. They may touch items that are valuable or dangerous. Usually, it is best to remove the child or the object from such a situation.
We don't believe you're to spank any at all, because that's a part of coercive parenting, and we don't believe that coercive parenting works. So what we encourage you to do, though, is to be firm and to be consistent. So if it means you have to say, do this instead, or do not go there a million times, then that's what you have to be prepared to do.
The teenage years can challenge both children and parents. With the physical and chemical changes happening in the body, teens may act out as they may be unsure of their place in the world.
This can be a very difficult time to navigate. So we ask that you start relaxing some of the very stringent rules, and you also have conversations and you compromise.
And to address challenges, caregivers can remove privileges.
If the child becomes stubborn, has a fixed mindset, if you will, that this is what he or she is going to continue to do, then you might need professional help. You might need to call the commission, or you might need to call a social worker or a guidance counselor to help.
Being a proactive parent means setting clear boundaries, letting children know what is acceptable behaviors and why rules are in place. And don't forget to model behaviors you want young ones to display. There may not be a one-size-fits-all for raising children. By assessing the right information and using effective parenting techniques, we can nurture adults willing to play their part in making Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. To tap into information from the National Parenting Support Commission, call 876-967-7977 or visit their offices at 37 Arnold Road, Kingston 6.
Reggae Month 2020 is here and a host of activities are in store across the island. Echoes of sound systems, Reggae Wednesdays, Reggae Gospel Concert, Bob Marley's 75th birthday celebrations, Jaria Honours Award, Reggae Film in the Park, Children of the Icon Store concert and more. Keep up to date on all the activities. Download the new Reggae Month mobile app. Simply search the words Reggae Month Jamaica in the Google Play or App Store. The app will also allow you to add and promote your own Reggae Month activity. So what are you waiting for? Download away and make use of this innovative technology today. Reggae Month 2020. Come catch the rhythm. There are some parents who have to work overtime. I'm speaking of those nurturing children living with a disability. They too need support. Coming up, we'll look at how a public and private partnership is cushioning the burden for parents of children with special needs. Take a look.
A mother or father's wish for his or her child. That he or she is happy, healthy, able, and will achieve his or her full potential. Even in the face of disabilities, these aspirations are affirmed with extra care and the outpouring of love in support of children with special needs. And the children themselves, some not able to freely move due to a condition known as spasticity, have strong faith in their abilities. Spasticity, or muscle toning, is a type of muscle stiffness seen in children with neurological conditions such as cerebral palsy.
Cerebral palsy is a name that describes a group of conditions where there's injury to the brain, the developing brain, that occurs during pregnancy, in utero, at the time of delivery, or up until 3 years old. And it affects a part of the brain that controls movement, the motor section.
With the varying degrees of cerebral palsy, some children may have issues with comprehension or understanding. Others have seizures and problems talking, swallowing, hearing, or seeing. Despite the struggles, the possibilities are bright for children living in Jamaica with this and other conditions that affect the ability to walk. Medical interventions are now allowing some disabled children to walk for the first time and for others to walk better, ultimately having an improved quality of life.
I think what we have brought is a comprehensive approach to addressing the problem, where all the medical professionals, including nurses, physiotherapists, occupational therapists, the surgeons, the rehabilitation and specialists and physiatrists, and the neurosurgeons and neurologists have come together, working with the hospital, working with the pharmacists to try and solve the problems of each child individually. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. So for example, in my specialties, some of them may need a surgical procedure on the lower back, which we call a dorsal rhizotomy, where we will resect some of the nerve or divide some of the nerves to allow them to move the legs more freely.
Other options for treatment include injecting the muscles or around the nerves with medication that decrease muscle tone or muscle stiffness. These medications include phenol or botulinum toxin type A, Botox. Specialist teams at the Bustamante Hospital for Children and the University Hospital of the West Indies, along with partners from overseas, have been pioneering treatments for these children.
The children are assessed. They're assessed by the physiatrists, they're assessed by the physiotherapists, and a diagnosis is made, and then a particular treatment is prescribed that's tailor-made for that child's disability.
Assistive aids such as braces, walkers, and other orthotic devices provide important support to children dealing with spasticity and the pain or discomfort it causes.
It's important for children with movement problems to be positioned properly. Without good positioning, the stiffness can pull the joints out of alignment. And so when they're very early, we put them in what we call braces or orthotics. And these orthotics will maintain a proper alignment of the joint, preventing the ankles from being deformed, preventing the fingers from being deformed.
The braces help with standing, balance, and overall mobility.
If you start from toe upwards, you have what we call ankle-foot orthosis. AFO is the quick acronym. You have orthosis or braces that includes the knee, ankle-foot orthosis that allows for stability. You have some that we use at the hip to keep the hip apart. We use some at the elbows as well, or the wrists, the wrist orthosis. Some patients may require spine orthosis. Those are not usually used in the neuromuscular children, meaning the children with cerebral palsy and weakness. And if they are able to stand and balance, they get walkers to ambulate or wheelchairs so the parents and caregivers can carry them around comfortably.
There are several risk factors for cerebral palsy.
The risk factors include poor antenatal care. It also includes children that are born very young, premature delivery, less than 28 weeks, because the brain is very delicate, and any changes in oxygenation can affect the brain. Low birth weight as well, when children are born very low. Different types of infections can cause it.
And even after delivery, there's the risk from head injury and infections such as meningitis and jaundice, among other things. Doctors say the risk of developing cerebral palsy can be minimized.
Parents need to know that you must have proper antenatal care, proper enough to take the pregnancy to full term, to 40 weeks, so the child's brain and body and blood vessels can develop properly. In addition to that, good health care condition for the mother, and delivery, safe delivery is always important, and postnatally, meaning after they're delivered, is to ensure that the children are healthy. They get their vaccinations, they're not exposed to any infection, there's no trauma to the brain, environment is safe, so you don't have exposure to chemicals that can also cause it, or to accidents or near drowning and stuff like that.
Children's exposure to toxic chemicals such as paints with lead in them, herbicides, pesticides, or household chemicals with pungent odors, either ingested or inhaled, can cause brain damage and must be avoided. Our best option for good health is always prevention, but that aside, effective curative measures offer hope and great joy.
We do have children walking who weren't able to walk before. We do have children sitting who couldn't sit before. I had a patient once where the legs were crossed, scissored we call it, where the legs were scissored at the hips, and the mother wasn't able to clean her properly. or carry her. So when she used to carry her in the front. So we injected between the legs and she came back. She was very happy. I'm like, why are you so happy? She's like, me can lap her now. I said, what do you mean by that? Because we injected between the legs, she could open the legs, so she could now carry her on the side, one foot in the front, one in the back, and a bag.
We hear of another story from Aunt Avia, who cares for her nephew Emilio.
His name is Emilio Morris. He's 12 years old. At one point, his foot was like turning like this. So now the car seat at the Bustamante, it said come back around straight. So now he's wearing a braces. At one point he used to creep, but now he doesn't creep. At one point his knee was very tight, but now it's not so tight. Things kind of better now, being that him get the injection. He used to get fizzy. They want him to stand up in the brace.
Khalil Baker is 13 years old. He was born with cerebral palsy, low motor skills. Basically, he cannot walk without assistance.
We have been coming to this clinic for some time now, where he has gotten injections and has done a surgery, which has helped him tremendously. He could not lay on his stomach. After the surgery, he was able to lay on his stomach and turn over, roll over. He is able to stretch out his hands and legs. And for bathing him, it has been made much easier for caring for him. He could not feed himself. He's trying to feed himself now. Well, you can leave him with food and he will feed himself. He's a very happy child. And we have good support from family and friends. And thank God we do. He's our joy. He's our joy.
We've come to the end of the show, but only for today. Do catch us again tomorrow right here on this station. Another half hour of informative features awaits you. Until then, please send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm. You may also connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and of course, there's Twitter. On behalf of the entire production team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.